by quick show of hands, who here has a fear of public speaking? I'll be honest with you, my two biggest fears are public speaking and speaking in front of a camera. Thank you, Patrick, for allowing that to happen. So this is great, but it is my pleasure to introduce my dear friend, Chim Fransisco. I've known her for over 8 years.
That's true.
She is by far the most detail-oriented, most organized person I've ever met. She's also a global entrepreneur. She gives back to her community. She's really, really involved with the youth, education, and things that are with. Can you guys hear me in the back?
Yep.
All right, perfect. And for women, she is a rock star. She's kind of like Bono. She only goes by one name. And it's Chim. Everybody knows who she is. So without further ado, the one and only Chim Fransisco.
Thank you. Where's my hug? Thank you. There you go. Well done. He is a fast learner. Good morning, roosters. Good morning. I love the fact that y'all woke up very, very early to conquer your fear of public speaking. Who's heard of the term glossophobia?
What is it?
Google it. Someone actually came up with a term. Glossophobia is the fear of public speaking. Do you know anyone who is afraid of public speaking? Yes? Well, guess what? I used to be a very, very shy, did not want to be in front of a crowd person. And when I was in the Philippines growing up, I thought English was one of the hardest languages ever to be mastered. For those of you who speak English as a second language, let me see a show of hands. Wow, a couple of you. Standing up in front of a crowd makes me feel like the proverbial goldfish in a bowl where all eyes are on you and you think they're just watching that goldfish swim to the left, to the right, and then what? The other part about public speaking that tends to be a little bit scary for people is, if you've ever been in my shoes, you kind of have this feeling that they're watching you from head to toe, listening to everything you're doing, judging you. Do you know what you're talking about? Are you any good at this? Or worse, are you just, by the way, bouncing around the room, so for the video camera, you're going to need to follow me. Or was this one of those things where you came up with your speech from when you woke up to the time you got here? Because we know some people BS their way through speeches, correct? Yes, candid conversations. When I came to the United States, one of my biggest challenges was to really be able to communicate in a way that people would understand me. Now, throw in the fact English is my third language. I spoke with a heavy accent. And then, I also am a really, really petite person, yes?
Yes.
So going into a room and being recognized and people having the ability to feel your presence was a challenge that I've had since I was born. And it hasn't really changed much. I'm still as tall as I was since I was 15 and I haven't grown since. Now, Toastmasters is a journey that I began a little late in my life. For those of you who are still under 40, it is a good thing if you can start your journey in Toastmasters early. When I came to the United States, I made an effort to surround myself with mostly English-speaking people, because what would happen if I hung out with my fellow countrymen and women? I spoke Filipino or Tagalog, and then I never practiced my English. When I entered the world of banking and travel and tourism and hospitality, I found that it wasn't so much my degrees or the letters after my name that propelled me forward in business, but it was my ability to be able to connect with the people whom I was working with, the people whom I was serving in terms of my clientele, and those were the soft skills that no one ever mentioned this in college, right? College is usually about get your degree, put those credentials after your name, and then go into the corporate sector or be a businessman and woman, and then voila, you're going to be successful. But the soft skills that revolve around effective communication and leadership are those very, very minute things that make a difference between the person who dreams of becoming successful and the person who actually is. Can you guys relate to that?
Yes.
Yes? And now for most of you who are solopreneurs, not only Did you take the bold step of being in business, but now you're kind of a one-man show or a one-woman show, pretty much, yes? So how do you leverage you as your own talking, walking brand ambassador of your business? Because who else knows your business except you? You know how to market yourself, and you know your craft better than anyone else, correct? Okay, today we're going to talk about the top 10 tips of public speaking courtesy of Toastmasters International. Before we do that, a little tidbit on this organization. We're over 90 years old, kind of the best kept secret in town, because until about 7 years ago, I had never even heard of Toastmasters. So for my friends in the room who know me, I don't cook. When my daughter found out Mommy's finally joining Toastmasters, she goes, wow, you're finally going to make breakfast at home? I was like, no, honey, Toastmasters is not an organization about toasters. It is an organization about public speaking. And funny enough, my daughter is now in a corporate organization, and they have a corporate club for Toastmasters. So she's thinking, oh, this is what you've been doing the last 7 years. She went to a club and visited and said, wow, it's pretty fascinating. Anyway, fast forward, the Toastmasters organization, 90 years later from its inception, is a global entity. There are over 380,000 Toastmasters worldwide who do exactly what those ladies shared. They attend club meetings. They're there to become better versions of themselves. The organization is also present in over 140 countries with over 15,000 clubs. And it means you're not alone. Because somewhere, even in China, India, the Middle East, there is someone just like you, an entrepreneur, who wants to become a better speaker and a better leader. So are we ready to learn 10 fascinating tips about public speaking? Yes? Okay, so here's the deal. It's interactive. I don't like listening to the sound of my own voice. I do that enough when I wake up in the morning and meditate. I would like to ask for audience participation. They have been pre-selected. And one of the things that was mentioned earlier, Toastmasters offers at a club setting table topics. This is when someone comes up to you and asks you a question and you have no idea what they're going to ask you. And in about 3 seconds, you need to come up with something smart and intelligent to say. Yes. But don't we do this every single day when you pick up your phone, you don't know who that is, a prospective client, maybe a colleague? And every day, when you really think about it, we have table topics opportunities. Let us begin. Tip number 1, this is my cheat sheet for names. Where is Brittany? I saw her. There's Brittany. Okay. Brittany is going to show you tip number 1, and it says?
Know your material.
Know your material. Before we dive into know your material, Brittany, what is it that you do?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. You can hang out here with
I'm
me.
a fitness professional, in-home personal trainer, and also children's fitness. And I'm also writing a children's book and creating a tool to go along with it to help children make healthy choices from the very beginning.
Okay, so she's a fitness professional. Would you assume as an entrepreneur, if she is a fitness professional, she has some type of expertise in health and fitness? Yeah. Yes?
Yes.
What is your favorite tip to share with our team today? What's the number 1 healthy tip you could share with them?
Number 1 healthy tip. Let me think. Let me relax.
Pick one.
Okay. Healthiest tip. I would say it's a lot of people have the misconception that nutrition is 80%. I'm sure you've all heard that. Nutrition is 80% and workout is 20% exercise. I would say that would have to be false. And it's 50-50. And they go hand in hand. And it's not just for my own job security. Because I'm not a nutritionist, but I can guide you in that area as well.
So half and half. Very good. Thank you for playing. All right, let's give her a round of applause. Know your material is really critical because as entrepreneurs, when you stand up in front of a crowd or in front of a prospective client and you don't know what you're talking about, do you think you're going to close that deal? Absolutely not. But how do you show your expertise in terms of your craft or your services that you provide? The basics. Credentials do count, right? If there are certifications, degrees, anything that says to someone, hey, yes, they actually studied this, and they are good at what they are doing, that's always a plus. But expertise is more than just academic knowledge or content that you have in your brain. It is also your ability to be able to communicate to others that you know what you're talking about. In public speaking, it's the same thing. When you're preparing for, let's say, a 5-minute presentation, or let's say 10 minutes, that's all you've got a chance to have in front of an audience, you must have 4 times that much material in your head, because if there is a Q&A, someone could ask you a question that is completely not in that outline that you prepared. And the other piece is, as you're having the conversation with the audience and you're watching for the people's reactions in the room, if you know they're interested in a particular topic, you want to deep dive a little bit more. So it's critical in terms of subject matter expertise that you establish yourself as a go-to in your field. Who in here is also a health and fitness expert? I think I saw a couple of you in the room. Health and fitness experts. So guess what? Just in this room, there's a bunch of you. Now, not all of you are experts in the same area. Some may be in terms of athletic training for people who are professional athletes. Others may be training people who are retired. Others may be training children, and whatever the case may be, have a specific niche, a brand that you are known to be very much an expert in. Pretty easy? Same thing in public speaking. Do not try and BS your way through a speech, because someone is going to poke holes through it and they're going to be like, yeah, I'm done with you. I'm leaving now. All right, we have number 2. My helper is Deborah. Where does Deborah go? Deborah's here. There you go. And Deborah, it says?
Practice, practice, practice.
Ah, easy. Not just practice, but practice, practice, practice. Deborah, what do you do?
I host a TV show. I'm a writer and
Ooh.
a speaker.
Yay!
I'll be here in June.
Self-declare. Awesome. As a writer, what is the best way for you to share with the rest of the room how to create a tagline?
A tagline. I think it has to be short, simple, something you're passionate about, something that clearly communicates your mission as a brand.
Very cool. Do you have a tagline you'd like to share with us?
Inspirational, educational, and content that's going to create a well world.
Very cool. Thank you for playing. Practice. Has anyone here ever trained for a sport? Oh wow, a lot of athletes in the room. Don't mess with these athletes. Has anyone in here ever competed for a trophy? Yes? It doesn't matter if it's track and field or swimming or varsity. But guess what? Are you ever a success overnight because you just want to be an athlete or you want to be successful? No. What did you have to? I mean, some are naturally gifted, right? They're just born amazing. Practice, practice, practice. And not just practice, but perfect practice is very, very critical in what you do professionally and what we do as human beings. Sports is an easy analogy because when we look at the Olympic gold medalists who stand up on a podium and we see the gold medal over their heads and their national anthems playing, we are so proud to share that victory. But only the moms and the dads and probably the siblings, as well as the coaches and their team, really recognize the sweat, blood, and tears that happened all the way from maybe 5, 10 years ago for those people to actually be up there on the podium. With you, as entrepreneurs, perfect practice is also critical because not only are you focusing on being the best at your craft, but you also have to build your business around it. Let me digress for a second. When I transitioned from the corporate world into becoming an entrepreneur, one of my biggest challenges that I encountered was making the differentiation of working in my business and working on my business. Yes? Yes. Can you all relate to that? Oh, yeah. Where some of you perhaps may say, hey, I'm the best chiropractor, I know exactly what I'm doing, but I don't want to deal with billing and marketing and all that stuff. Somebody else do that for me. But when you decide to go solo, as the word entails, you pretty much become responsible for everything related to your business. So it's not just about working in the business per se, but you also have to work on the business in terms of making sure you have solid foundations for operations, for marketing, for administration, because guess what? You could be really, really good at your craft, but at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it is not just about revenue. The trick to being successful in entrepreneurship is mastering your cash flow. If you don't have cash flow, you're done, because you won't be in business tomorrow. And practicing on your craft is as important as practicing on building the infrastructure that makes your business great. And that is what the gift Rooster provides to each one of you. So thank you to all of the founders, Patrick, Michael, and we're trying to go. I saw her here just 2 seconds ago. There she is. Thank you for creating this incubator, so to speak, of building a community that allows solopreneurs to be successful together. Okay, number 3, my helper is, where's Svetlana? Svetlana is a certified Toastmaster. Yes, she drank the Kool-Aid and keeps drinking it. Svetlana, what do you have for number 3?
Know the audience.
Know the audience. Now, I knew her in a different life in the computer sector. What is Life on Purpose all about?
Yes, my name is Svetlana Florida, and I'm certified hand analyst helping women to identify, embrace spiritual gifts to manifest life and business you absolutely love. And it's very important to know your audience.
Very true. Awesome. Thank you for playing. Okay, because we exercise when we do public speaking, that way you don't fall asleep. I'm going to go to this side of the room. And Patrick's like, wow, she really said she was moving around and she meant it. Okay, knowing your audience. Sometimes we have the opportunity to have a formal presentation, right? And you can gauge pretty much who's going to be in front of you. Today I knew you were entrepreneurs. I was like, easy, I got this one because I'm one of them. But what if you're in front of a crowd and you don't know who they are? What do? One of the tricks in public speaking that is critical is preparation. And that is, if you're ever invited to do a formal pitch in front of a group of people, ask for demographics. Pretty easy. Hey, who's my audience? Are they moms and dads? Are they children? Are they retirees? Ask and find out what their interests are. Like, for example, today, why is public speaking important to entrepreneurs? Shout it out.
Get the word out.
Get the word out about your business. What else?
Tell your story.
Tell your story, because everyone has a story to tell. But not just tell the story, tell your story masterfully. What else?
We do business with people we like.
You do business with people? Oh my goodness. Is he the only one? No! Like it or not, unless you are a programmer of sorts or a developer and you just fall in love with your machine all day, you are going to end up working with human beings, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Not everybody who's an entrepreneur likes human beings. Is that true?
That's definitely true.
Sometimes you like others more than the other group. But you don't have a choice sometimes when you're an entrepreneur. Professionalism is also about being able to kind of pummel through those uncomfortable moments where this person's not really my cup of tea, but it's revenue and I'm just going to go for it and provide the best service that I can. Turns out this person really adores and loves you as a business person, and they become your best word-of-mouth referral. So do not judge, because we never know who's in front of us. But knowing your audience is critical. Finding out what the hot buttons are of the people in front of you, and always being the person to offer solution is the best gift that you have as an entrepreneur. Because we're not here to sell our businesses and services and products. We're not here to tell the world that I am here to be another expense item in your checkbook. We're not here to help them get more frequent flyer miles because they're going to use their American Express card, but we're here to provide a solution. And if you come from that focus as an entrepreneur, that what you have to offer profoundly changes the lives of people around you, you will always be successful in business. Agreed? Yes. Please share.
Knowing your audience, you can get to know yourself better, because
Very true.
they'll deliver the message back to you where you need to go, what you need, who your target is, more and more and more every time you get to know your audience.
Very valid point. Knowing your audience equates to knowing your customers. Clients have ever-changing needs. What a client needed 10 years ago when it came to personal assisting right?
That's right.
I'm plugging you here. Huh? You're liking this? What they needed 10 years ago is very drastically different from the needs of an executive on the go now. Can you imagine working with a personal assistant who did not know Microsoft Office suites, where they couldn't open Outlook, let's say, or Excel, or Word?
I do all of those.
Yes! Isn't that a good plug? So knowing your audience equates to, in business, knowing your clients. And because clients have ever-changing needs, what is the best way to find out what your clients want? Ask questions. Who's the genius who said that? Oh, well, I have a lot of geniuses in this side of the room. Ask questions. Ask questions. Part of the time when we're presenting, we're so busy talking at the audience because we have all this material that we want to spit out, literally. And we forget to pause and find out, hey, what do you need from this presentation? And Michael and I had a very long conversation prior to this presentation. I said, what is it that you do? How are you helping your entrepreneurs? And what is it that we can provide in terms of Toastmasters to help kind of bridge that gap in terms of skill sets you'd like to have and the ones that you currently have now? So public speaking is something very integral to anybody who is doing business with a human being. Agreed? Yes. Okay, let's move on to step number 4. Where did Ryan go? Oh, Ryan's behind me.
Know your audience.
Oh,
Or
that's
your room.
yeah.
No, piece of paper.
She liked the know your audience.
Still there.
She was internalizing knowing your audience.
Right,
Know the room. Now, she's a volleyball coach. I should have picked you for my sports question earlier. But as a coach, right? These are all entrepreneurs. If you were their coach, what is something in terms of training that you would share with your entrepreneurs that they must do on a daily basis?
Practice.
Very true.
Be rigorous with your practice and do your best, whatever your best is that day. Always do your best.
Awesome. Thank you for playing. All right. Now, know the room. Know the room is critical. I'm going to start from a public speaking standpoint because these little things right here, right here, are dangerous. You do not want to fall smack dab on the floor. I know you'll catch me. If there are wires, you also want to know what type of mic. I prefer a lapel mic whenever I speak because I talk with my hands. And you also want to know if there is a PowerPoint. Now, most speakers today love technology and they love the PowerPoint, right? How many times have you seen a PowerPoint fail? Yes?
Today.
And the speaker just stood up and went, oh, my entire presentation is over there. If you are so good at your craft, if you are a subject matter expert, that PowerPoint is merely supposed to enhance the material that you're providing. Because let's think about this. If I give you PowerPoint slides, and you can read the slides, and everything I say is on the slide, what do you need me for? You can mute me and I'm like, bye, see you later. This is very critical. Knowing your room is very similar in terms of your business. Presentation. Because you want to always stage things that are important. For example, if some of you have a studio, if you are a personal trainer, making sure that you have a place to receive your guests, sign them up, where your administrative paperwork is just as important as knowing where all your equipment is on the floor. Easy? Yes? In the public speaking world, for some of you who aspire and desire to, on top of the gig that you're doing now, your passion and your craft, by the way, you can make 2 sources of income. What you do very well now as an entrepreneur and being a subject matter expert speaker in what you do. Who would like 2 sources of income? Yes. Thank you. Super simple and easy. And for those of you who are blessed and gifted with the skill of a foreign language, guess what? If you speak 2 languages now, that's 2 additional income streams for speaking. If you speak 3 languages, that becomes 3. Do you like this math? Yes? So, native speakers of English, don't feel bad. It's okay. You have the one. Master it. Be great at it. And recognize that in your industries, if you become the go-to person, you become the person they will call and invite to industry events. That looks so amazing on your resume. Any accountants in the room by chance? No accounting people in the room. They're busy doing taxes. If you are an accountant, for example, and you are invited to speak at the Florida Institute of CPA conference, that is a cool thing in your resume. People are, sadly, not always very realistic in terms of what the truth is, right? Is perception a reality in people's minds?
Absolutely.
Yes? So this CPA, who's now a speaker in some kind of leadership summit or conference, automatically gets elevated in the minds of people that he or she's slightly a little bit better or above average than his or her competitors. Agreed?
Agreed.
Because we are human beings and we have perceptions. True? You're nodding. You're like, it's happened to me. I know. Yes. Okay. Let me switch gears. For those of you who are new entrepreneurs, one of the toughest things is finding your identity, right? Because some of us still cling to who we were, what we used to do, what that life was like, and then we're trying to establish a new brand for ourselves. Well, let me ask you this. If you have a health and fitness person up here who is saying, hey, I'm going to train you, I'm going to help you become healthy and fit, and this person is, let's say, 300 pounds with literally a very unhealthy appearance and maybe not even a professional look, would this person have any credibility? No. So whatever it is that you are doing, be the best at it. Be the best massage therapist, be the best writer, be the best speaker, be the best accountant, be the best life coach. It's not just about the appearances. You must live, breathe, and be who you are. Because if you are not authentic in yourself, the rest of the world knows, and there goes your revenue. Because everything ties to our businesses. So knowing the room, which is a public speaking tip, is also something you tie into business. Knowing the room is about setting up your house, putting your house in order, the house being your business. Making sure that you have an admin center, making sure that you clean up after yourself and you tie all of the loose ends at the end of each day. Because there are many of us who are really, really good at our craft, but we leave things like billing and accounts receivable and, oh Lord, I have to order supplies and I have to do all these other things. We don't like those things sometimes in our businesses, but they are part and parcel of what an entrepreneur needs to be successful. It means, back to Rooster, having a community of people that you can trust to support you in being successful so you can focus your energies on what you're really, really good at doing is very critical in business. Okay, tip number 5. Where is Greg? Greg. There's Greg. Okay, Greg. Number 5.
Relax.
Wow. So Greg is our chiropractor in the room, one of our chiropractors in the room. Why is it important for the spine to be perfectly aligned in order to be a productive human being?
Because we all have spines, and without it, we don't live.
Greg, if you were to share with this whole room, who would be your ideal client? What would that look like?
My ideal client would be somebody that walks in the room or sitting in the audience like this.
Watch your postures.
Because posture is actually the most important thing when it comes to health. So if you're somebody that says they're healthy and they are constantly in this position, it's literally impossible to truly be healthy and be in this position. Because just like you said, the highway of life is your spine. If your spine is constantly in that position, you're not fully expressing your entire health. So
Very good. Nicely done. Thank you. Are you noticing that each of you have a chance to do table topics? Because your future prospects, your future partners will ask you random questions that you have no idea about. And I just said, who's your best client? And it's true. Anybody, a human with a vertebrae, is pretty much somebody that he can help. True, right? Yes. By the way, do you practice a specific type of chiropractic like Atlas orthogonal or anything of that sort?
yes, I do.
I did not know that. I swear to you. Okay, we will chat later. Very awesome. And super specialized. If you don't know about that particular, should we say, expertise? I'm not sure. That different distinction, the modality. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. See, Greg, very cool stuff. It will help you to be very productive in your personal and professional lives. Awesome. Relax. Why relax? Do you believe that if you're stressed inside and you're standing in front of a crowd, your audience feels it? Yeah. Oh, yes. Because the energy that we vibrate with and the energy that we share across the room is something that people feed off of. Why do people love Beyonce and these artists who get up on stage and just rock the world? It's because they're vibrating at such a high level of energy that we're hungry. We want that kind of energy in our lives. If you're not relaxed, if you are super nervous because you didn't prepare, you don't know what you're talking about, and you're thinking of 20 other things like laundry and grocery lists and my car that, I don't know, needs to get washed or whatever things, your audience, if you're not fully present, is being cheated of the experience of the gift of you, and you are losing out on a revenue opportunity. Even if someone just takes the time to ask you for advice on something, take the opportunity to turn that service question into a sales revenue generating moment. That's a whole other class. But relaxing is important because as a speaker, if you are being who you are, and if you're being sincerely authentic with your desire to add value to the people in your space, your audience will pay attention. And I know some of you had to leave early, but you're still here, so thank you. Meaning you're finding value in the content. Relaxing is also critical because at the end of the day, we go back to our lowest level of training when we are stressed. I was at an event recently in Las Vegas. It's called Lady and the Champs. There were 3 world champions who were speakers, and this really fantabulous woman, she's the first president of the National Speakers Association, the first female president, I should say. In this presentation, there was a featured speaker, other than those important folks, who was a police officer. Remember the Mandalay Bay shooting? You guys remember that from about a year or so ago? Devastating, completely scary. This police officer spoke, and he said that his journey was defined that day when he decided to run towards the bullets. Now, the guy was not a professional speaker, had never even stood in front of an audience in his lifetime to speak, but because he had the capacity to relax and be real, he touched, moved, and inspired that audience that day. You will soon see that man, because he's writing a book, on the world stage talking about how important it is to train rigorously, to focus and relax and be in that mindset to give everything of what you've got. And my takeaway from his speech was he said, in moments of stress, when things are going so chaotic around you, you go back to your lowest level of training. His lowest level of training is serving others and putting his life aside to protect other people. I mean, think about it. Who is crazy enough to run towards the bullets, knowing that, hello, there's no Wonder Woman shield, there's no Superman cape, nothing is going to defend you, yet he chose to do so. Every day, you are all running towards the bullets of people in your space who think you're absolutely crazy for leaving your corporate job and starting a business. Does that resonate with anyone? My family was number one on that one for me. They were like, are you nuts? You left a 6-figure job to do what? And the naysayers in your space who are afraid for you to fail because they're not daring enough to try this on their own. And then there are those fabulous friends on Facebook who only call you when they want something from you. And then the minute you invite them to a presentation, can you come and listen to my pitch so I can practice? They suddenly disappear. You are running towards bullets every single day. There are so many people in your space trying to be the best at what you do. Who here is a chamber member? Any chamber? Oh, yes. Thank you. When I was in the corporate world, you go into these big, giant breakfast meetings. Everybody's in a suit. Everybody looks very dolled up. How many bankers do you think are in that room? Practically 5 out of the 10 people seated at the table is in the financial sector. And how do you differentiate yourself when you go to these events? This is about relaxing and being present so that you know the value you bring to the table. Because it is a competitive world. You're not the only graphics design artist. You're not the only chiropractor. You're not the only fitness professional. You must be able to distinguish yourself something called a unique selling proposition of why of all the 10 accountants I know will I go to, I'm making up a new profession for Shauna, why would I go to her? Sound good? Yes, okay. We are moving on.
For number 5, you just hire Sonny.
That works for me. Where is Philip with 1 L and 2 P's? There's Philip. Number 6.
Number 6. Visualize yourself giving a speech.
Visualization. Very well done. So Philip has a blank and it says, what does Philip do for a living?
Is that a question?
No, for you.
I'm a pilot and a travel coach.
A pilot and a travel coach. Very cool. What's a travel coach?
Well, essentially I show people how to travel more for less.
Oh, we like him already. I say, roosters, don't you think we need a cruise as a field trip?
And we can do those.
Oh, very good. All right, so see Philip for a free vacation. Thank you. Visualization is important in public speaking and also in being an entrepreneur. They're still stuck on the free cruise. By the way, Michael, Shauna, and Patrick, we may need to have a contest of some kind. Prize free cruise with your very own travel coach. Yes, member incentives are good, right? I'm starting up something. They're so going to shoot me after this. Like you're not invited back.
We actually have a competition coming up.
Ooh, I want to hear about that. Visualization. For those of you who have trained in sports and for those of you who meditate on a regular basis, the visualization piece is important. The visualization piece is very important. If you believe with your heart of hearts that you give value to people, they will connect with you. If there is one little piece of your being that doubts that you are good at what you do, that you know what you're doing, that your intention is pure, that translates into the world. Let me make this super clear in terms of distinction. When you go into a car dealership, you're buying a car, and these vultures come upon you in the parking lot before you even step out of the car. What's their intention? I'm selling you a car. Do they care about your needs whatsoever? For the most part, no. Do they even care about what is important to you in buying a car? No, because in their minds, the vultures are going sales. But if that is how you approach your client prospects, from that perspective, you may win some, certainly, but you will not earn a fan base. People who have the ability to visualize their capacity of transforming the world in a truly positive way come from a totally different space. The people who are truly sincere about sharing their gifts, those of you who have healing hands, it's not about the money. It is about a vocation of being able to heal someone with those healing hands, correct? Yes? That would be you too. By the way, notice the very, very superior posture that allows for the energy to flow in his entire body, that allows for proper circulation and for his brain to function at a higher level than those of us who need caffeine in the morning. Very cool stuff. Visualization is important in public speaking, but more so in your business. Think about this. If your worry as an entrepreneur is, I don't know where my next deal is coming from, that is a very different perspective from the person who is aligned with a vision of, I am going to, for example, build a training institute that will empower entrepreneurs to become independent. That's what Shauna and Patrick and Michael are doing for all of you. They didn't think about just the next 24 hours. They thought about revolutionizing the culture and community that is dedicated to solopreneurs. And it's not even about looking at the finish line to finish your race. It is looking beyond the finish line of what you can accomplish that is far greater than many people believe you can. But if you don't have a vision and you don't visualize where you're going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? Think about, for those of you who may be familiar, if you have not read this, definitely do so on your reading list, The Dash. Your life is defined by your birth date and your date of being, well, back into the clouds somewhere. Your life is this dash, right? I'm super simplifying the book. But this dash is your legacy on this earth. So if you're only thinking about, I don't know how to pay my bills and my rent and my cell phone bill and my car payment, that's not the space that you need to come from in order for you to visualize yourself being successful. Visualization is about knowing that with every fiber of your being, you are able to make your dream a reality with a solid plan behind it. Because dreaming to be great is not enough, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good start. There's a lot of hard work that goes behind it, a lot of effort. Even during the days when you're calling and calling your prospects and no one seems to be answering and you feel like you're leaving messages the whole day and none of your clients are coming back. Yes, you're relating to this, right? Because it gets frustrating. Entrepreneurship has got to be one of the most challenging things we put in front of ourselves in business. Because when you are with a company, you have the infrastructure behind you. Somebody takes care of all your marketing materials, somebody takes care of payroll, somebody takes care of maybe even setting up your appointments if you don't have a virtual assistant, a personal assistant. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're the cook, you're the server, you're the bottle washer, you're kind of everything. You're the chef, you do everything. And some days, it gets overwhelming, right? The visualization allows you to stay true to what it is that your life purpose is about. And money is just one of those things along the way that you gain. It is not just about the revenue flow. Okie dokie. Let's see. We are up to number 7, our favorite personal assistant in the room.
Realize that people want you to succeed.
They do? Are you sure? Really?
They do.
Because does any patient come into a chiropractic office and say, well, I hope that he can make me feel better today? Or do you ever go into a personal training session thinking, I wonder if this person is going to actually help me with my goal? Maybe they have doubts, but people in general want you to succeed. I don't know of anyone who pays to go to Tony Robbins for one of his events and thinks, he may just fail today. Not after you spend $250 in a ticket. Believe me, he better perform, right? This is also important. Realize that people around you want you to succeed. And this statement may not resonate well with some of you. Surround yourself with people who truly believe in what your potential can bring to this world. And if you have those people in your space who are naysayers, who are the Debbie Downers, and every other word we can describe them to be, recognize that that's their issue and their problem, not yours. Do you seriously have time for the people in your space who say, you can't do it?
I don't.
You can't do it. You can't do it. Why would you ever surround yourself with people who doubt you and your capability to touch, move, and inspire people in this world? And sometimes I have to say, they're super close to us. They could be our family members, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Oh, come on through. They could also be our coworkers, right? You're leaving your corporate job and you're saying, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to start a new business. And they're like, are you sure you want to do that? Who has time in this world to spend with people who are constantly disbelieving you? Do you have time for that? No. Rooster is that environment that allows you to surround yourself with people who not only believe that you can be successful, but they are the very people who will propel you forward because together you lift each other up. Agreed? Awesome. Next up. Thank you, by the way. They're so well done. By the way, for your personal assisting needs, who do you call?
Perfect. It's easy.
Isn't this good? All right. Where is Travis? Travis is in the house. Travis, what do you have?
Don't apologize.
Okay, let me just reframe this because they may think don't apologize for anything ever. Travis,
Never.
you have a little blank there. What does that mean?
I know, actually, when I first asked them, they're like, I don't know why we have 2 lines. And then everyone else figured it out. So that's wonderful.
Creativity.
I own that. Yeah.
Awesome. And Travis, what is it that you do professionally?
I increase your leads and your sales and maximize your bottom line profits from profit hacking strategies.
Profit hacking. I like that. By the way,
very
that's
fun.
your tagline.
Yes, right?
For now and going forward, he will be known as Travis the Profit Hacker. Good
take
tagline,
it.
by the
Yeah,
way.
I'll take it. Thank you.
And you do this how? Digitally?
Digitally, physically, the profit hacking strategies is more of holistically growing your business instead of just trying to grow one piece of it.
Okay, sound good. For those of us who are non-techies in the room, basically he brings people to your doorstep so that you can make more money. Got it?
Yes.
All right, good. Thank you. Don't apologize. This is an expectation in life. The only constant in life is change. Agree? Yes, because everything changes all around us. In public speaking, expect something will always go wrong. Things like your PowerPoint may fail, the AV may suddenly not work, and it's really cool when you're on top of this giant stage. Happened to me, true story. And I'm on a roll, and I'm going, and my wireless microphone, the batteries died. There was no backup battery, and I'm thinking, okay, goldfish moment. What do? I just got off the stage and went down with my audience and had a conversation with them. I said, we need to just squish in, get a little closer. It was a room full of women entrepreneurs, by the way. It was pretty cool to have that bonding moment because the setting was this giant stage and people were in their circles of 10, very formal table. And when the microphone died, I was like, thank you, this was the blessing I needed. Because everybody was super formal and detached. And when we got together physically, the bond happened. So know that something is going to go wrong when you're a public speaker. Always expect it. It may be some silly things like, for example, you prepare your introduction and then they lose it. I've had that happen to me where I usually show up with a backup copy. And for some reason, I left it in the car and I wasn't going to track back to the garage. And I didn't have an introduction, so we just chatted with the MC. Or little silly things like, for example, you think you're number 4 in the presentation and they change the order on you and you're like, okay, you're number 1 all of a sudden and all your slides are not in order. Life happens that way in public speaking. Roll with it, make it a learning moment, and best of all, have fun with it. Now in business, you would think, oh yes, I've got this down pat, I've got my systems, processes, and templates in place. I'm always going to have a perfect day. Yeah, seriously not. Because in business, more so, you never know what life throws at you, correct? You could have the most perfectly planned day, but what's important as an entrepreneur is your ability to be adaptable to the things that are thrown your way. When we're talking about the public speaking piece, this makes a lot of sense. But in business, whatever you're learning, whether it's this workshop session or any other session that the Rooster team puts together, take away something from there that you can apply personally and professionally, because that's the growth. I'm not focused on you learning the top 10 tips of public speaking. If you take one thing away from here that makes sense to you, that you apply right away, it's a win for all of us. Correct? Correct. Ready? Okay. We are almost there. Where is Maria? Maria. You mean you're doing 2? Okay.
I'm Maria.
This is Maria Anthony. No, Maria. Go ahead. Anthony. Fire away.
I'm supposed to read it this time.
Yes.
Concentrate on the message, not the video.
Don't shoot the messenger. Remember? Thank you. What is the BART org?
Organization.
What is
That's my
that?
last name. Bart. Internet marketing company.
Are you sort of like what Travis does? Is it similar?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Travis yet.
Well, definitely you two should get together and collaborate. So what do you do?
We help businesses find their customers, and we help your customers find your business.
How do you do that?
We build websites, SEO, advertising, social media, email marketing strategies, anything to help you find your customers.
Okay, very cool. Digital marketing.
Yes.
Similar. Okay. Thank you for playing. Back to this piece for public speaking. Concentrate on your message, not the medium. A lot of the times we're so focused on what the audience is going to see that we spend a lot of time on what are we going to wear, our hair, our makeup, and all that fun stuff. But that is important in a sense that you always have to put your best foot forward professionally, but even more so, your message is the most valuable gift, thank you, that you bring as an entrepreneur and as a speaker. Your message is that thing that sets you apart from every other person in your same industry. Your message is about what stems from your heart, why you exist and why you're in business. And this is a question you have to ask yourself. Are you in business because you would like to just make a ton of money? That's okay, because that's part of the truth. Are you in business because you would like to be the best at what you do? Are you in business because your ability to give value to people changes their lives? You have to find out why you're in business. And it is okay. I'm not saying, by the way, because sometimes I have this conversation with folks and they're like, so you mean we should just be really focused on giving to the rest of the world, but how are we going to make a living? Right? Because we have some entrepreneurs who are really good at sharing their gifts, and then they come home and it's like, light bill, car bill, mortgage, and how are you going to make ends meet? Pardon my back. Let me go this way. The balance is really critical as an entrepreneur, because you do want to be the best at your craft, but you also want to run a very effective business. But it stems from your purpose of why you exist as a business. When we look at corporate mission statements, for example, and we look at organizations who are socially responsible, not just profit-oriented, and you as a consumer really decide to support those businesses who are socially responsible, you contribute to the greater good of humanity, right? Yes? I was going to go into a Walmart team, but we'll save that for the next conversation because that's a long conversation. In business, being very, very certain of why you decided to do what you're doing and being clear on what you're trying to accomplish to give this world is critical. That is your message. That is the essence of why you exist as an organization. And that is the essence of why you chose to be an entrepreneur. Because you could have worked at McDonald's and gotten minimum wage, correct? Isn't that an option? Yes. For everybody in the room. Some are like, nope, that's not for me. That is an option. Being an entrepreneur means you have to be bold and courageous and sometimes a little bit stubborn when things seem to be very disappointing and disheartening. But you have to, just like visualizing your success, focus on that intention of why you choose to be who you are. Cool? Yes? Okay. One more. Where did Chris go? Chris is in the house. Chris is way back there. I get to go see.
Gain experience, join Toastmasters.
Thank you. Thank you for that plug. And I don't see your name badge.
Oh, Chris.
He is a fitness professional.
Yes.
Yes? Who do you help?
I help a lot of senior citizens with their balance, coordination, stability, overall strength, and also high-end, elite-level clientele as well.
Very cool. All right, let's tackle this for a second. Is it true that we're all going to grow old someday? Yes. It may not be now that we are an ideal client for this young gentleman, but we are all growing older. We have parents who are now at that point in their lives where maybe they're not as physically strong as they used to be, correct? So what's really cool about this community you're building is the fact that each of you are helping people at different stages. I heard someone focused on kids' fitness. I hear now someone who's focused on helping people who are in their senior retirement years to stay healthy and strong. Very good stuff. Just like in your business, when you gained experience to perfect your craft and to master your skills, public speaking is one of those things that, yes, there are folks who are born with a gift of gab. Where's Patrick? Patrick's one of those people. Yes, Patrick came out of the womb talking, I swear. He did that. And then there are some who need a little bit of training and a little bit of molding in public speaking. Couple of tips. In terms of gaining the experience, every single chance you get to practice your 60-second commercial, your sales manager minute, fire. Talk to your pet. I mean, your dogs and cats don't answer you back, but practice, practice, practice so that it comes out automatically from your mouth. I'm going to ask this question. I want you to be really honest. Who has a super powerful, effective 60-second commercial that they can say, I can take this anywhere and I'm gold? 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for the honesty. If you did not raise your hands, that's a whole other segment. It is so critically important when you are an entrepreneur that it rolls off your tongue, where you're not stumbling over words that are multisyllabic, where sometimes we want to sound so smart in front of people and we throw in these technical jargons and things. Now, I'm going to pick on him just because I remembered what he said. For 1 second, he said SEO. Now, I would say probably half the room knows what that means, but what if you were talking to a non-technically inclined audience? So always when you're doing your 60-second commercials, plain English is the best way to deliver it. You don't have to be highfalutin. Your commercial must be so that if I was listening to you tell me about what you're doing, I have to be able to repeat it in my own terms where I understood it and share it with someone else. If I can't explain what Kelly does because she was so perfect with her English and she had all these highfalutin, wonderful technical jargon, but I can't tell you what she did, she just lost me as a word-of-mouth referral. True? And Kelly, what do you do?
I don't have it on my name tag, but I'm a life and career coach.
A life and career coach, simple, easy, got that. Now, whatever her specializations are, I'll get to know her better and I'll be able to share it. But gaining experience, pardon my back, in public speaking is also the same way as gaining experience in your profession. Toastmasters offers you a positive and supportive environment where you can continue to hone your speaking and communication plus leadership skills to become more self-confident and to become effective in those fields. You don't have to go to every single Toastmasters meeting in your club. Most of those Toastmasters meetings are weekly, some are twice a month. But if you commit as part of your training that you're going to go at least once a month to speak and once a month to learn soft skills, you are preparing yourself to be in a more powerful position to communicate who you are as an entrepreneur. One more quick plug for Toastmasters. And I just noticed the sound level over there is a little loud. When you decide to join Toastmasters, if you find that you can make the time to do this, it is so important that you chart your own course in this organization in a manner that supports what you are trying to accomplish personally and professionally. Being a part of Toastmasters does not mean that you would like to have a professional speaking career. In fact, many of us in Toastmasters have other businesses or have different types of interests beyond being a professional speaker. In Toastmasters, you are given an opportunity to be educated. It's an educational program with 2 tracks. One track is communication and the other track is leadership. The communication track is all the technical stuff that you need to learn to master to become an effective speaker. Again, mark my words. Not necessarily a professional paid speaker, just somebody effective and powerful enough to get their message across and achieve whatever their purpose is. Many times when we speak, we're informing someone about our products or services. We're inspiring someone to purchase our products and services. Yes, we're persuading someone to consider taking us on and being a client. Maybe we are also looking for feedback from people when we're speaking, and that's quite okay. When you're in Toastmasters, utilize that environment, if you decide to be a part of it, to build your speaking repertoire. What do I mean by that? It is okay to go up there and say, I am preparing for a presentation in front of industry professionals. I need to try out my opening or my closing, and you give me feedback. Everything that you do in the world of Toastmasters has to help you become one step closer to your personal and professional goals. Really critical. If you are not committed to your own personal growth and development, then it's not going to be for you because you will be pushed out of your comfort zone. Not that you're not already as an entrepreneur. There will be moments where you're going to ask yourself, why did I decide to stand here in front of the crowd and have my heart palpitating and have my palms sweating and literally my brain to mouth connection just disappearing? Why am I torturing myself? It is in those moments where we are uncomfortable that we have the greatest opportunity for growth. And if you're willing as an entrepreneur to always become a better version of yourselves, then try public speaking via Toastmasters. It's a safe environment in that no one is going to laugh at you unless you're trying to make us laugh. No one is going to criticize you in a negative way. You will be provided pointers and feedback. And by the way, in case there's any question, I'm a volunteer of Toastmasters. As a district leader, Yuli Mara is also an elected district leader in the organization. We don't make a penny. But why would you say, as entrepreneurs, we invest our time in a nonprofit organization that helps men and women around the world become better versions of yourselves? Because we see the value of how communication propels everything else that we do in our lives. Being a part of Toastmasters will help you to have better communication amongst your family members. It will also help you to be more articulate. If you had 30 seconds and your ideal client is in an elevator with you, elevator pitch, can you articulate enough of who you are and what you do and the value you bring so that the goal is not for the client to buy your service right then and there, but for the client prospect to say, hey, that was really interesting, can I meet with you? Right? Sometimes we're not clear on what our messaging is. In a networking opportunity such as this morning and every other chamber event you go to, and Valentina can relate, we have both been at, I don't know, gazillions of breakfasts together. Valentina, how is it? Right? It kind of looks like this. Hey, I'm Valentina, I'm Chim, here's the card, boom, boom, boom. And by the time you're done, you have like 50 of these things in your card. Or you may see those little business card ninjas who are just like, oh, Meredith, and where's your, oh, and they're like firing at you. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, hi, oh, here's my card, hi. Okay, let me just be realistic here. If you're giving me your business card and you haven't taken 10 seconds to ask me who I am and what I do you know where your card is going to end up? In my shredder, right here when I get home. If it even makes it to my shredder, I may drop it on the way out, on my way to the car. Because we are also gaining experience when we're in Toastmasters of developing soft skills that are equally as valuable as the technical skills we possess as entrepreneurs. Listening skills are important. Time management skills are important. The ability to manage meetings effectively, those are important. The ability for all of us to think quickly on our feet. Some of you are looking at me like, why are you asking me questions? You said I was supposed to only read this. Because every speaking opportunity is an opportunity for you to establish your brand. And if you're not clear and sure of who you are as a business owner, your audience will know it too. So this is about clarity of purpose. Public speaking helps you to articulate the things that are in your heart very effectively and powerfully so that you can help others and make a difference in their lives. And on the same token, as you're helping them to improve their lives, you are gaining revenue, right? There is nothing wrong with being in business, wanting to be successful, and making a lot of money along the way. When I personally made my transition from the corporate sector into becoming an entrepreneur and getting involved in my family business, it was a tough decision in so many ways. One, because my daughter was growing up, and I always thought, wow, I'm going to get out of college, climb the corporate ladder, be a CFO of this amazing financial institution by the time I'm 30 and whatever else. And I climbed very fast in that world. And leaving something that is certain and comfortable is very tough. You as entrepreneurs have gone into the brave journey, the frontier, seriously. You are trailblazers when you think of it, because you know why? You are testing yourselves of what you're capable of doing and what you may still have to accomplish down the line. So I know this was a public speaking workshop, but it's also about growing your business. And before we wrap, I just want to hear from a couple of you. What's one thing you would take away from our conversation today? Share a takeaway. What did you learn that's like, hey, I'm going to go home, work on this, and do it right away?
I loved how you engaged everyone in it. I would change my style for public speaking based on that. I love how everybody had a role in it, and you gave real life examples of how to approach what we're talking about.
Thank you. Because I could tell you effective ways of using props, but how about I show you how to use props? My props was 10 amazing people of Rooster, right? And no matter what, those 10, they're going to remember the thing that they read. Thank you for that. What else? Feedback? Yes, sir.
I think using language is very simple to understand. So I work in technical aspects too, but I'm usually an intermediary between technical people and the client. And so I have to actually translate both ways. So I have to translate what the client wants nuance into technical, and then take the technical side and translate it back to the client so they understand. So
Very good.
That a lot, and just simplifying things. Most people do know what SEO does. You'd be surprised how many people don't.
Yes, I mean, they've heard the term, and no one will admit that they don't know it. They'll probably Google it and be like, oh yeah, search engine optimization. You're like, oh! Very cool.
Sign me a check now.
Exactly. So here's a quick tip in terms of whether you are easy to understand or not. Ask a third grader, I'm seriously not kidding. Tell a third grader what you do. If they can repeat to someone the essence of what it is that you do, you are successful. But if they don't understand what the heck you just said, you really need to step back and tweak your 60-second commercial or however you define yourself in terms of your business. Hopefully that is helpful. Yes, ma'am.
I want to volunteer with you guys. It was so definite.
Thank
and
you.
I'm going to start volunteering with Toastmasters. I emailed to find out what I could do next to step more into it.
Terrific. Actually, beside you is our Division C director for our South Palm Beach and North Bowery clubs, Yulimar Trumbo. Please connect with her. She is also, I'm going to do a little plug for my dear friend. Yuli has been one of my mentees in Toastmasters, an incredibly amazing genius of a woman who only speaks, 5 languages. She's a software engineer, super smart, the biggest caring heart, who homeschools her 2 gorgeous children on top of everything. And she's an entrepreneur just like us. She just launched Boca Family Magazine, and she's here to meet with Shauna, Patrick, and Michael to do a little plug about your incubator that you have created in terms of our community. So please touch bases with Yulimar afterwards. Yuli, we call her, because Yulimar sometimes gets too long to write. Yuli, that's Yuli. Okay, what else? Some takeaways?
So you reminded me how effective that energetic movement while speaking, how important that is, and how you can continue to maintain contact with everybody in the room by mere proximity to them.
Yes, thank you. Did you hear from the back what he just said? Like I said, I could show you how to utilize props much better than I can tell you what to do. When I'm moving around the room, watch what happens. Your body is moving with me. Your head's turning, your body is twisting, you're not totally glued to your seat. It also means your attention keeps moving and moving and moving so that none of you fall asleep, because there's nothing worse than a speaker looking at an audience going, hasn't happened to me yet. We can also do songs and dancing, that kind of thing if you really fall asleep. By the way, quick tidbit. If you're ever asked to speak anywhere, do not take the time slot after lunch. That after lunch coma will hit. It is a disaster. Unless you have them dancing before you speak, truly after lunch, you know what? It's just human, right? We've eaten. Our body is trying to consume and process the food we stuffed ourselves with. And the after lunch time slot is tough. You have to be super energetic and interactive or you will lose your audience. And it's not because you suck. It's because they're sleepy.
We just make them do burpees.
We may need to call 911 for that. Yes.
Humor works without telling the joke.
That's true. Very true.
Huh?
I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't have to sit there and tell a joke. Humorous in the conversation actually bring the entire crowd. You do.
Yes, short and sweet and to the point. I like him. Thank you. He can moonlight for Marie. Very cool. Any other takeaways before we wrap? Yes, Kelly.
I really like what you said about visualization, not just for speeches. If you can't see yourself up there speaking and being successful, you're not going to do it. I don't care what goal it is. If you don't see yourself and you don't believe in it, it's not going to
Super
translate.
important.
Yeah, I agree with
Thank you. All right, I know I'm like way over time because I love you all and I like to hang with folks. Here's something to think about. I know you came here wanting to pick up tips for public speaking, but I hope you also picked up tips for how to grow your business. You are in a powerful environment right here with men and women just like you who would like to be successful in what they do. So my ask of you today is encourage one person in this room to go with you to check out Toastmasters, to see if it's a fit for what you would like to accomplish professionally, and to encourage that person to become a better version of themselves just as you are growing. Find a buddy, and I'm sure there's a system in place for teams. Find a buddy in this room today whom you can connect with and collaborate, and that you can walk this journey together. You could try and be an entrepreneur on your own. Many people start out that way in their garage like Dell did, or maybe even a micro business in India that started out in someone's kitchen. You could go at it alone, but you know what? It's kind of lonely doing it by yourself. Wouldn't you agree? Yes? This community allows you to support each other and to help each other. So take the time to please buddy up with someone, encourage them to go check out a Toastmasters Club. I'm going to just share 3 very effective ones. Proximity-wise, there's the city of Delray Beach. I believe someone already joined. Michael, was that you? Patrick joined the city of Delray Beach. They meet Wednesday evenings. There is Delray Newsmakers a little bit west on Atlantic. That's Monday evenings. And I will plug my personal club, which we founded at the Boca Chamber. Yuli, Jatan, I don't know, Svetlana has visited. We meet on Mondays at 12:15, the luminaries at the Boca Chamber. I encourage you to check out 2 or 3 before you decide what works for you. Every club has its unique personality. Some are super formal, some are a little casual, and others are kind of in between. But find that club that makes you feel at home. I think one of the testimonials earlier, like they were so welcome coming into the club. Find the right fit for you. Not every club is cut out the same way as the others, in the sense that the people within the club really define your club experience. So please visit a couple of our clubs. Go to toastmasters.org, find a club, and you can search by zip code or dates and times. And with that, I do want to make a final shout out to our 3 fabulous founders in the room. Please give it up for Michael, Shauna, Patrick, and the 4th one, Brian, in the back. Thank you for what you do for our Rooster community.